John Long Silver Rails here. Well, we're back at Trainman Gary's disappearing Lionel train layout, the 2021 version. There are some changes, it's more interesting and it's more fun. There are also landscape enhancements and a lot of other improvements. So let's get at it and see what we've got here.
Before we get going, we need to fill up the tender with some water, and that's what we'll do right here. Signal turn red when each of the individual trains goes under. And we have crossing gates over there. This is the passenger. This is the switch tower. When either train comes by, the illusion, the man that's up on the balcony runs down the steps that actually two men, like one guy.
This is. I'm here with Trainman Gary, the train master of this wonderful design, and he's going to explain exactly what's going on here, which is a little bit too complicated for me.
Well, basically, it's similar to a layout I did a year ago. I just made a few changes to it. And the main change, instead of a X crossover track for the one crossover, I have two switches. The two switches have the power supply to the track on an independent circuit, a separate voltage output of my one transformer. So voltage is on that all the time, so regardless of which train crosses the two switches, they will receive power to keep them running independent of each of the two circuits. The one circuit for the freight train and the other circuit for the passenger train. So both the freight and the passenger, there's the other crossover, of course, is between the bridge and under the bridge on the other side of the layout. And they both go into the tunnel approximately the same time. The elevated passenger set will stop when it's fully disappeared into the tunnel, and it will wait for the freight train to start it when it crosses over a switch track with an outer insulated rail. So when the train runs over it, it basically sends power to the track through a solenoid, and that activates the passenger train. And the whole reason of that is to keep from the two of them colliding in the tunnel somewhere or on the switches. So the other issue is you have to keep each train on the right circuit. So in order to do that, when the freight train comes around, it crosses another insulated rail, and the engine acts as a switch to turn on the one switch that turns the switch so that it will stay on the freight circuit. And a similar thing happens then after the freight train activates the power to the passenger set that's been sitting inside the tunnel. Then the passenger set, just before it gets to the switch, the engine goes over a insulated track that acts as a switch, and it changes the switch direction. So it keeps it on the outer passenger circuit. And that's basically how it is. And the other reason I did that, by taking out the X section from last year, I have a nice long run for the long streamlined passenger all the way down the side of, approximately 16, 18 feet. And since the passenger train in the engines is over 6 feet long, I like a nice long straight section, the same as when it goes up and into the tunnel. I guess my favorite scenic spot, and again, all this mountain is just a framework with some mountain paper on it. And you can make your own mountain paper. You can get some kind of a brown paper and plain spotches of red and green paint, which that's what I did on the mountain on the corner one way over there for the beacon light. I ran out of mountain paper that I bought, so I just made my own. And the secret to the mountain paper is you wet it and crumple it up so it makes it look like rocks and crevices. But my favorite scenic spot is when the passenger train goes into the mountain on the upper level. I took quite a bit of work, and I like that aspect of it. And the other small changes I made are on the automatic gateman and the automatic switch tower. I only had it working on the outer tracks because the inner one I stopped for loaders and unloaders, and I don't want them, the solenoids and those two accessories just to be going on for several minutes. So when I'm operating those loaders. So I just have a switch to turn them off. But now if either train passes those points, it activates the automatic gateman that swings his lantern, or the little switch tower where the guy comes down the stairs. The illusion, the man that's up on the balcony runs down the steps that actually two men, like one guy. kid, we'd have our trains in basements, and everybody that had a big train layout, they would tape over the windows at the top of the rooms in the basement because it was below ground, and then it was all dark. Wait a second, I'll turn the light off here. Garage light keeps it on a second here. But to me, that was so much fun to see. The lights are half the fun.
had a very good time at Trainman Gary's layout, this year's version. As we slowly return to normal, there's going to be a big train show in Tallahassee in June, a 2-day show for the first time. I think it's our 30th anniversary or something like that of train shows. We didn't have one last year. It might be the 26th of June that
26,
weekend.
27.
26th, 27th, but y'all can look it up online. Big Bend Model Railroad Association.